Hey guys, it's Joe from Gadgetry Tech, and today we're going to talk about the new Barracuda 2022 edition launch. There are some new models here. There's an update to an existing one, and it's very exciting. I have a lot to talk about. Now, I am moving in like 6 days. The only way I could cover all of this in time before I left, and you'd be waiting weeks, is if I did this all together. So with that being said, I am sorry in advance. This is not my normal approach. Usually I'll have a dedicated one for each headset. But it is what it is. Now, I did put chapters below. There are a ton of chapters because this is the longest video I've uploaded all year. So if you are only concerned with one of these models, I'll do my best to make it easy to navigate. However, I did want to pull them all together so you can understand the differences of the three and hopefully help you make the right decision. Now, if at the end of this review you decide any of these are the right headset for you, I will have links in the description. They are generic Amazon affiliate links. It supports the channel, helps me purchase more of these so I can cover things. So any support there would be great. If not, buy it however you want. I am very excited to say that this is the first time I have received a product from Razer to review. The white Barracuda X, the $100 headset, was sent to me by Razer. So I just want to thank them for finally working with us. I'm really excited to work with them going forward. I did purchase the Barracuda and Barracuda Pro because I wanted to cover them all at the same time. None of that will impact my opinions of the review or shape it in any way. I am always very honest and upfront. But anyway, with that being said, let's dive in. So starting with the Barracuda X, the price point to start with this whole lineup is $100. And the Barracuda X gives you a detachable boom mic. It still gives you Bluetooth and USB-C with a 50-hour battery life, and it also has aux as a backup. Stepping up into the Barracuda, you get a downgrade in battery life at 40 hours, but that's thanks to the upgrade in hardware. It does have more powerful drivers and more capabilities. It uses a beamforming microphone technology, so no boom mic. The microphones are integrated, but you do get upgraded sound quality and comfort and features. Going to the Barracuda Pro will look very similar to the Barracuda. The first giveaway is that you see the leatherette ear pads. Everything else looks almost identical. The interesting omission is there is no aux input on the Barracuda Pro. So the Barracuda X and the Barracuda have aux. The most expensive model, the Pro, drops aux, but it does add active noise cancellation. So if you're concerned with ANC and you want that whole transparency mode to hear everything around you, that's what the Pro is for. Now I'm going to talk about build quality and comfort for each model just kind of as an overview so you can see the differences. But I do want to point out this because I absolutely love this. The USB transmitters that they come with are USB-C, which is great. They're very compact, but the USB-C port is offset. Now, if you're an OCD person, this may bother you a little bit. However, this is such an important change because all the old transmitters, my SteelSeries transmitters on the Arctis lineup, the old Barracuda, the USB port was centered. And what happens is if you plug this in on a laptop, it's very likely you're taking up a port next to it. If you plug it in on the front of your PlayStation 5, which is USB-C compatible for this, it will block the USB-A port if you had a larger centered USB-C transmitter. So the fact that it's offset means that you're freeing up ports next to it. It's something small, but something I'm really happy that they did. Now, starting with the Barracuda X, I love this design. I actually liked the old Barracuda X a lot, and they just took everything that was great about it and made it better pretty much across the board. So I'm going to start with the headband. You get this memory foam headband. It's very plush. They did a great job with the headband, and the padding actually goes all the way to the edge. Here's something so I don't forget. It still has metal in the headband. So if you're worried about durability, it's not brushed metal. It's not a gorgeous metal, but it's metal on a $100 wireless headset with Bluetooth, which is awesome. You get full swivel. So the only thing that I'm not crazy about with this is it swivels out. So you can still wear it around your neck, but I typically like to have the pads down. Not the end of the world because of the design. It doesn't have any sharp edges or anything. So you can still do it. But it is full swivel. You can get full articulation. So it's going to be very easy to get a comfortable fit. You get the Sport Weave ear pad material. Now what's really cool, they use memory foam on basically everything, their entire lineup. And the Sport Weave material is one of my favorites because it's extremely durable. It still provides a good enough seal for bass response, but it doesn't get as hot and spicy as some of the other headsets out there that use other materials. So I'm happy that they use this at this price point because I think it's better. Look, I still have the sticker on it. So going in, again, quality, look at that. It's durable. I'm not worried about it breaking. It's not as limber if you will, as some other headsets, but you really don't want to do this to your headphone all the time anyway. So to me, that's not a big deal. All the controls on the Barracuda X are on the left side. So I'm going to pop the mic off and show you, and that's pretty easy, right? So if you go on the left side here, let me get that into focus. So you start with the microphone switch. If it's out and you see the green, that means your microphone is on. The volume rocker is a little plastic wheel. It's notched. It doesn't spin forever. There's a hard stop at max and minimum volume, and that does work independently of Windows volume. So if the headset volume is low, check your Windows volume and this, because it's not going to be the same. You have your 2.4/Bluetooth power button switch, if you will. I'll explain how to use that in a sec. And then your aux input, USB-C, and then the microphone, which has a little notch to make sure you center it. And yeah, overall it's really solid. Now when I put this on, the clamp force is medium firm. It's not a loose headset. What I do love about this headset is it weighs 250 grams. Very lightweight. I can, move my head around and it's not going to fall off. And because it's so light, it doesn't have to have a crazy strong clamp force to maintain that level of stability. But overall, I think the comfort's excellent at $100. The only thing, if I were to nitpick, the pads are about the right depth. There's no padding on the inside of the baffle. So if you look, you can actually see the driver. So I'll actually just pull this off. Why not? So this is what the driver looks like. This is a pretty traditional driver. Now this is a 40 millimeter Triforce driver, rated for 20 to 20,000 hertz. I'll get into sound quality in a minute, but this is the only one of the lineup that uses a 40 millimeter driver. The other two step up to 50 millimeter, but they too use different materials even to each other. Now I mentioned that power button on it, so when you press and hold, it turns on, and then by the default, it's gonna go to the USB transmitter. If it's not detecting, or if you just wanna go to Bluetooth, triple tap the power button, it toggles it to Bluetooth mode, the light turns blue, and you can connect to it on your phone. Triple tap again, it goes to 2.4, and then a single tap will, even on Windows, pause your music, and a double tap will change tracks. So it actually gives a little bit of Windows control, and that does work on Bluetooth. So the way this Bluetooth works, it is not simultaneous with your wireless source. So if you are trying to hear your computer wirelessly at the same time your phone's connected, it's going to hop between one or the other. Whichever sends the audio signal, it switches. The one nice thing is, again, at $100, if you're playing a game or listening to music and then someone calls you on your phone, you can tap the button to answer it and it seamlessly switches to your phone, which is awesome. All of these headsets use Bluetooth 5.2. It doesn't have aptX, but the 5.2 is going to help with the battery life, faster pairing. It's a more secure connection. So it's pretty much top of the line as far as technology goes, again, starting at $100. So a few things carry over from the Barracuda X into the Barracuda, and that includes the fabric material on the ear cushions. It's a great fabric material, and it's no different here. You get that nice plush memory foam, so it's great for glasses. And what's nice is there's actually padding on the Barracuda. So the center baffle has a nice pad because your ears just touch against it a little bit. It's not a lot, and it's nice and flat, no bump or anything. So it's actually incredibly comfortable as well. Now upgrading to the Barracuda and the Pro gets you brushed metal headbands. No more unfinished, so if you're concerned about the looks of the brushed, it looks quite nice. The adjustment is actually quite high. Usually most headbands, the adjustment for the height is down here, or the size of the headband. However, it still works fine. It didn't feel any different on my head. I'm not sure if you'd notice it, but I will say that this is a slightly longer headband design, so I can actually wear this on the smallest possible setting, unlike some other headsets out there. Not sure if that'll be a concern if you have a smaller head, but this is slightly high. I guess if I did one click, it would be perfect, but it's just a little bit on the larger side lengthwise. Now, clamp force is decent. It's medium to just above medium on the clamp force. I think I like the medium to slightly more firm clamp force for sound quality reasons. Getting a good seal is important to get nice consistent sound, and this isn't so strong or aggressive that it hurts. I was able to wear these. These are my most comfortable ones I've actually used for quite a long time now. Between the sport fabric, the lightweight, this is only 300 grams, the padding on the inner baffle, and the memory cushions memory foam cushions that they use, very, very plush, very comfortable. This is easily one of the top headsets under $200 when it comes to the comfort side. So I really want to commend them because they nailed it with this one. Now going into the controls, it's going to be similar to the Barracuda X. Basically, it'll look the same as far as the buttons go. You can see that power button there. The volume wheel, this one actually spins indefinitely. It's not a fixed wheel. So this will control your Windows volume. And then when I get into the power button down there, so this one uses a secondary button on the right ear cup to control your Bluetooth toggles. So play, pause, switch modes is on that one dedicated button. And just like the Barracuda X, it's not simultaneous Bluetooth. None of these are, but it will connect to Bluetooth while still playing on your PC wirelessly. Now, obviously, there's no mic boom, so I just want to show you real quick. These little slots in the front, those are your microphone array. That's how it's going to capture your voice. We'll do the mic test soon, but I just want to show you what that looks like. I do want to say that the drivers on the Barracuda, the middle tier with their titanium drivers, are gorgeous. Normally most people don't care about that, but when I pop the cover off, they look pretty stunning in there. And then I like this design with the slightly angled baffle, so that again helps with sound quality. It's just those little things and little attention to detail that I think can go a long way. So stepping up to the Barracuda Pro, everything is identical to the Barracuda I just showed you with the exception of a couple little things. The ear cups are leatherette, no more sport fabrics. So these do get a little bit warmer. First-hand experience, they did get a little bit warmer. I still like the comfort. This is a very nice, soft feeling fabric. It's a little bit on the thinner side, but I think that's going to help if you wear glasses because it's not as stiff. So it still conforms well. You still get a nice pad on the center. And overall, it looks identical in pretty much every other way. You're really just getting the leather pads and then the bump, which I am pleased to say this has caused some controversy on another headset, so I'll talk about that in a moment. I'm going to try to get this into focus, so bear with me. It's so faint, I can't even get it to really stand out, even though I'm pushing. There are microphones on the center of each ear cup. That's how active noise cancellation works. They have a microphone array inside to help hear what's coming inside the headset versus what it's hearing outside to negate that sound in order for it to work properly. So this is a fairly minor bump. It is not noticeable whatsoever, even when I pressed in on the headset to try to get it as close as I can't feel the bump at all. So they really like crushed it with the design of comfort yet again. And on top of it, this entire ear cushion is padded. So even if for any reason you felt the bump, there's a pad between your ear and that. I really can't imagine anyone really having that as an issue. Now, the only thing I do not like about the Pro is the ear cushions. And if I'm wrong later, I hope I am, and feel free to correct me. I tried really hard and I didn't want to damage these. I bought these. I can't remove the ear cushions. I think it's to protect the active noise cancellation mic array, but it was not removable. I don't know if they glue it or if it's screwed in or some trick that I'm not aware of. I pulled really hard and could not get mine to come out. Maybe I'll do an update video later if it ever works, but that's about it. Everything else is absolutely identical to the regular Barracuda. The weight is a little bit higher at 340 grams, but all the controls are the same. Now we're about to do the mic test, but I just want to show you a few things. So every Barracuda comes with some really nice cables. The Barracuda X and the Barracuda come with an aux cable. If you get it in white, the cable will match. It's a fairly long aux cable. It's braided, it's gold tipped. It's a nice quality cable and it comes with a rubber tie. So then you get two USB cables. One of them is a straight USB-C to USB-A. That's what you're going to use to charge your headset. And you can charge it while you use it because this does not work as a USB-C headset. It only works as a wireless headset, unless of course you use aux. Then you have this cool little wire. This is actually a fairly long wire to do this. So this has a few benefits. Let's get that into focus. You have a USB-C to USB-A extension cord. So if you are, let's say your PlayStation is farther off into a console or your computer is farther away and you want to have access to the transmitter just to get better performance for any reason, you can use this as an extension cord for your transmitter or make sure that you're not blocking any ports next to your laptop. Or if you don't have a USB-C port available, you can still use this with USB-A. Okay, so this microphone test is going to take a little bit, but I'm going to try to go as quickly as possible because 3 different headsets and a lot of different ways you can use the microphone. So right now I'm using the Barracuda X, the $100 headset with the boom mic, wirelessly connected to Windows 11, and I'm just using the voice recorder app on Windows. I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm not EQing or adjusting gain. This is just straight up connected, and this is what the mic sounds like. And now I'm talking to you on the Barracuda X in Bluetooth mode. This is paired wirelessly to my iPhone. Again, no fancy recording there, but this is how the Bluetooth microphone sounds. All right, and then this is what the Barracuda X sounds like with an aux cable. I'm connected to my iPhone via an aux, the included aux, and it'll sound the same when you're connected to Windows or if you're using this on, let's say, an Xbox controller because any of the Barracuda headsets with aux can also be used on Xbox. You just have to use the cord. You won't be wireless. All right, so this is what the Barracuda headset sounds like with the beamforming microphone technology. It'll have different sound characteristics as a boom mic, of course, because you lose the proximity effect, but this is what it sounds like. Now, this does have available noise cancellation for the mic array. Right now it's off because I wanted to show you the clarity, which can pick up some background noise, reverbs in the room, etc. So I'm going to clap. Now I'm going to switch the noise cancellation to low. And this is what it sounds like with noise cancellation on low. So I'm going to clap again. Now it's time to go to high. And this is what my voice sounds like with noise cancellation set to high. It does impact my clarity a little bit. It reduces clarity, of course, but it does reject a ton of background noise. I can tell you when I was typing as loud as I could, it didn't pick up any of that, but I could still talk and my voice would sound like this. So I'm going to do the clap test one more time as well. And that's what it sounds like. All right, so this is what the Barracuda sounds like in Bluetooth mode with noise cancellation off, and I'm going to turn it on now. And this is what my voice sounds like when I max out the noise cancellation and use Bluetooth. And then this is what the Barracuda sounds like with the aux cord. This is what your friends, again, would hear on a controller, or if you plug it in via aux straight to a computer or phone. That's how the microphone sounds. All right, so the Barracuda Pro uses the same microphones as the regular Barracuda, so I'm not going to do every single active noise cancellation test. However, this is what the Pro sounds like, again, using the wireless connection straight to my computer. And then again, just for consistency, this is what the Barracuda Pro sounds like using Bluetooth directly to my iPhone. Let me know what you think down below. All right, it's my favorite part of the review, talking about sound quality. Now I'm going to compare the three headsets to each other, but also explain their sound characteristics in a way that hopefully helps you shop against others in the same price point if you're considering others. So starting with the Barracuda X, it has the most bass of these three. The mid bass is ridiculously strong, like 8-10 dBs above the flat line of frequency response. So some people may like that if you listen to a lot of rock and you want some heaviness to the guitars or the male vocals. This will add that. If you're playing a game that you want more of that mid bass and rumble and explosion effect, the harder hitting bass, this will do that too. Now it's not so hard hitting that it's like a tiny mallet or a drumstick hitting a drum. It has a little bit of depth to it. Surprisingly, it gets pretty deep. However, because this has the 40mm drivers, they're the smallest drivers here. And then with the flow knit ear cushions, which is that sports material I was talking about, the bass starts to roll off at about 30 hertz. So if you're concerned with super, super low, deep bass, then I would consider the other Barracudas. So the mid-range is actually quite nice on the Barracuda X. There is a little bit of warmth to it, however. So if you're concerned, again, about having too much heaviness or bass to a male vocal, I actually found that the bass was strong enough that it actually impacted the way certain female vocals sounded, depending on what music you were listening to. So again, you can tune that out, but just describing it out of the box, it's very warm and bass forward, and it bleeds into the mid-range a little bit. However, it doesn't have any weird nulls. There aren't parts where certain instruments are lacking or there's no presence in the vocal range, for example. And this does help with games too. If you are concerned with footstep sounds, things like that, it's relatively flat, and that extra warmth is going to still help you with footsteps. It's just the way it sounds out of the box. Now the Barracuda X's treble is the most difficult one for me to explain because it's not that linear. It has a few spikes and it's a little bit harder to tune. Now I'm being critical because I'm an audio guy. I don't want to call myself an audiophile and sound like a snob or anything. I appreciate audio a lot. And you can't fix all of the inherent issues with the Barracuda X on the upper treble because it has these spikes. So basically what I mean is there are some parts where the detail retrieval is excellent. There are parts where it seems like it's not quite there, like it's a darker sounding headset. So depending on what game you're playing or what song you're listening to, it might sound dark and it might not sound as airy. Conversely, there are certain frequencies that have spikes on the Barracuda X, which means they are much louder than other frequencies. And if you listen to a song or play a game that hits those notes, it could sound sibilant. It's like the S just kind of creeps up and slaps you in the face because it's really bright. Now, the good news is when you do some tuning in the treble, let's say you're playing a game or listening to a song that does sound a little darker, the treble's not really detailed and vibrant, you can boost the treble a little bit, and it didn't make the inherent sibilant issues, that sharp S sound, it didn't get really any worse. It stayed fairly consistent, which is good, and you still got the extra detail retrieval as a result. I'm just saying all that again because I'm trying to be as critical and honest as I can with the sound. You can fix some of it, and for a $100 headset, it's certainly commendable. Now, as far as pure sound quality goes, the new HyperX is the Cloud Core Wireless, which is a $100 headset. Has no other features. It's just a USB headset. It sounds better to me for music out of the box. However, with tuning, these can still sound really good, but then you get the Bluetooth and the software and the presets and all this other cool stuff that overall still make the Barracuda X a better package. It's just in pure sound, it's a little bit, just not 100% there. Now, naturally, stepping up to the Barracuda will sound better. It's a more expensive headset, so that's to be expected. I am pleased to say that is the case. This uses 50mm titanium Triforce drivers, which is their fancy term of basically saying how they tune their sound to sound the way they want it to. The titanium driver was really interesting because I felt like if I listened to anything that had a piano, you could hear a couple extra rings on the end of the piano. You know, when the key press hits the string, you know, obviously you get that initial loud sound of the piano key, then you can hear the ring and it kind of fades off. Or the Barracuda, I got a couple extra out of it. The notes dragged out just a little bit longer because these were so good at detail retrieval in that range. So in certain music, it just sounded incredible, and I actually liked it better than the Barracuda Pro on certain songs. The bass response on these is a more lush, rich sounding bass than the Barracuda X. They're nowhere near as punchy, but the bass extension gets incredibly low. I really had almost no fall off, even down to 20 hertz. So if you want the deeper bass and the rumble, these are better for that, and they're better tuned to be more flat, and they have a little bit more airiness and crispiness up top. So out of the box, I think a lot of people are going to like the Barracuda a lot at this price range. It really doesn't need a lot of tuning to just play and enjoy it. So on a gaming sense, I think it's excellent right out of the box. Now you can mess with the EQ in case you're trying to boost footsteps, you know, in that 200 hertz range, or reduce sharpness, or reduce the sub bass. Again, anything you do to help improve your focus on, let's say, an FPS game, or you can just go pick up and play a racing game or an MMO and still be really happy with the way it sounds. Now the mid-range, because you don't have that super strong mid bass bleeding into the mids that the Barracuda X has, the mid-range is excellent and vocals sound incredibly clear. I was really happy with the way the mid-range sounds on the Barracuda, and the Pro was the same way. Now I mentioned the highs being just a little bit sharper, a little bit more tingly. I think of the three, the mid-range Barracuda has the most detail retrieval up top in the upper frequencies without the drawback of the sibilance or sharp S sounding that the Barracuda S has. So again, like I said, I think a lot of people will like this tune. I certainly did. I didn't have to tune it as much to still enjoy what I was listening to, but just depending on your source, you can tweak it at least, and I like that. So overall, the sound quality is excellent on the Barracuda. Now the Barracuda Pro trades off a couple things with the Barracuda in sound. Now they use these biocellulose drivers. It's not titanium, so I didn't expect it to be as ringy, if you will, because you have to think titanium's a metal. If you hit metal, it can ring. This technology is a little bit smoother. It's less resonant, so it should have a softer sound profile, and I thought it did. The bass is actually pulled back even more. It's more flat. It is more accurate, so I think it's tuned better for people who are more, I guess, critically aware of sound properties and they want a more of a reference level flat sound. The Barracuda Pro achieves that better than the other two, and again, it responds incredibly well to tuning. All three of them, you can really like crank the bass if you wanted to, like push it 10 dBs up, and it didn't distort. So the power handling of all three of these are immense. So if you find that the Barracuda Pro is just slightly bass light, you can fix that. But overall, it's very accurate, and it's actually fairly flat, including the mid-range. I found that vocals sounded the best on the Barracuda Pro, which, thank God, you know, because you're spending more money, you don't want to have a downgrade anywhere. Regardless if I listen to male or female vocals or a mix of both, I could turn it up really loud, and I was enamored by how good the mid-range is. Because again, at $250 to pack all these features and get that level of sound quality, it's extremely impressive. Now, as far as the highs go on the Barracuda Pro, I really think they got it right here too. So it In the 2000 hertz range, it's not quite as present as the regular Barracuda, but it's still very good. It's more of a reference sound, whereas the Barracuda can add a little bit more emphasis in that range. So certain vocals might come alive more on the Barracuda. Now you can tune that on the Pro, but the Pro is just more forgiving. You can listen to everything on the Pro and it's always going to sound good. And then with EQ tuning, you can make it sound great for whatever you're listening to. Now the Pro is tuned to have a little bit better soundstage. The area is up in the 10,000 hertz plus range. It really, the way they designed the driver technology, the ear cups themselves, and even the pads using the leatherette to kind of give a good seal, they have a lot of control over the sound this way. And I found that the Pros had the widest and most open soundstage. However, they still had all of that bass and warmth and mid-range to keep up with it. It wasn't like it was this very bright and airy soundstage with nothing else, because a lot of headsets can do that and it's not as fun to listen to. You can say you have great soundstage, but if the music doesn't sound great, it only goes so far. So overall, I think the sound quality is great on all three, and I hope that helps explain it. I tend to describe sound more on the music side because games are so all over the place with how they can output sound that it's not as consistent. Now I listen to, basically I'll give you my insider tip. I record a few game sequences from multiple games. I get my racing games, I get a couple different clips from Call of Duty, even older Call of Duty games, and a mix and match in between of that. And when I do that, I play the same video clips over and over and over, and I swap all my headsets to see how they sound and what I notice and how they excel. The Barracuda line is great on imaging. The driver matching is excellent, so if you're concerned with placement, it's great there. Just, again, this is from a gaming perspective. I think the edge goes into the Barracuda and the Barracuda Pro for a footstep awareness. It just does an incredible job at that. And then, again, you get the benefit of them excelling at music. Now, there's a couple quirks. Before I get into the verse competition part, there's a couple quirks with the Barracuda Pro I'm just going to say now. So the Pro uses more of an audiophile grade amplifier technology. It uses THX AAA. And my headphone amp that I use as my benchmark amp has that. It's a THX AAA 887. What that means is the amplifier technology is not only very efficient power-wise, they get nice clean power, but there's zero distortion. Measurably, they're one of the cleanest amplifiers you can get. They don't really color or impact the sound at all. They're very flat, but when you turn it up, you shouldn't hear any signal distortion whatsoever. That's the benefit of using a THX AAA amplifier. There's one thing I am not a fan of on the Pro, and that is the left ear cup has a slight audible hum when the USB-C transmitter is connected to a computer and powered on. So if there's an active connection from the transmitter to your headset, there's a little buzz on the left side. Now, I bought 2 of the Barracuda Pros, because I was thinking, like, I get a defect, you get the day one launch edition, maybe the, manufacturing quirks. They both did it. Now, a day later, or that same day later in the day, I got a firmware update that reduced the buzz. So if you're concerned with that, that does help, and it is very faint. It's not audible when you start listening to music at all. When you play games, it's not audible. It's just when it's dead silent and the transmitter is sending it, there's a faint buzz on the left side. I hope in a future firmware update they fix it, but if they don't, I just want to warn you now, expect that. It does not buzz on Bluetooth. It's crystal clear on Bluetooth. All right, now I just want to quickly show you the app and Synapse software so you can see how you can adjust your headset. So if you're connected, right here I'm connected to the Barracuda Pro, which shows my battery life and a picture. If you're connected to even the Barracuda X, this app still works for all your tuning. And even if you buy the white model, it actually shows it in white on your phone. So I like that attention to detail. I've had more expensive headsets not match the color wash that you get, so that's nice. Now the ANC mode, which again is only on the Pro, when it's on, you have a slider at the bottom. If you slide it all the way to the right, it's going to do a great job of blocking out background noise. However, it negatively impacts the sound quite a bit. You lose a lot of warmth and bass and richness to the sound. So I usually recommend dialing back your ANC, see if it blocks out enough noise without sacrificing as much of the sound quality to make sure you still get a good balance of what you're looking for. Now the Do Not Disturb mode is available on all 3 headsets, and I absolutely love this feature because when I've connected Bluetooth headsets in the past, I'll get emails or alerts on my phone and it'll ding my headset while I'm playing, and it's for stuff I don't care about. So if you turn on Do Not Disturb, you're still connected to Bluetooth. You can make a call with your phone and hear it on your headset, but none of the noises will actually come in and constantly bother you while you're trying to do other things. So this is an amazing feature. One of my favorite things about their Bluetooth functionality is that feature. Now with the equalizer, default is how I described the sound earlier. However, you can use any of their presets to see if one sounds better to you, or you can go into custom and really mess with it to see if this kind of dials it in exactly to your liking to get a nice flat sound. I tend to pull down some of the mid bass a little bit on gaming headsets because they usually overemphasize it. This isn't an official tune or anything, so feel free to mess with it and see what you like. But I love that you can do this. Again, this EQ works on their $100 headset via the Bluetooth app. Super, super cool. Now toggling the gaming mode basically locks in the headset's wireless connection to whatever device it's paired to. It's going to not hop back and forth with the whole quick connect feature. So if you're concerned about the Bluetooth impacting your wireless performance, etc., just enable gaming mode. It'll make sure it's laser focused on the source at hand with no interruptions. The mic noise cancellation I showed you in the mic test earlier, this is only on the beamforming headsets, so the mid-tier Barracuda and Barracuda Pro have this. Off is more natural sounding, low and high, etc. Block out more background noise. Slight expense of sound quality, but it is functional. All right, now as far as how this stacks up against the competition, this is a tough one because all three of these are completely different price categories. I think sub $100, the Barracuda X is probably one of the best wireless headsets you can get right now because it's giving you USB-C, it's giving you a 50-hour battery, it gives you aux, so even though it's not fully cross-platform wirelessly, like a couple other models have been doing now, you can do aux to your Xbox and then wireless and everything else, but then it has Bluetooth as well. So I know it's not simultaneous, but it's pretty cool that for $100 you're getting all those specs thrown in, and the sound quality and comfort's actually pretty good as well. Now the $160 Barracuda is in a more competitive price range, and there's a lot to choose from. So I'm going to try to narrow it down, but basically the Barracuda, for what it offers of the USB-C 40-hour battery life, which is slightly above average, it has great sound quality, which is above average compared to the rest of the models in this price range. Comfort's good, software's pretty good. Synops can be a little bit buggy sometimes. However, once you get a feel for how to use it, it is pretty consistent. I have more issues because I have 3 different headsets connecting a lot at the same time, so I have to kind of work through that. So, but as far as overall packaging goes, I think it's great as long as, one, you're okay with not having simultaneous Bluetooth, and you're okay with not having a mic boom because you heard how the mic arrays sounds. If you do want a mic boom and you want simultaneous Bluetooth, you're pretty much going over $200 anyway. That takes you to the Stealth 700 Gen 2 Max, which is $200, or the Corsair Virtuosos, which are like $230, $260. So you can pay more, of course, to get those features. But again, at $160, the Barracuda is a really compelling offer. And where it matters to me the most is your comfort and sound quality, and they knocked it out of the park there. So it's still a great one to consider. Now the Barracuda Pro is in an even more precarious position because it's $260. There is just so much you can buy. $40 more gets you the Penrose, which is a planar magnetic. It sounds better slightly. It doesn't have better soundstage, but it's lacking in almost every other department compared to the Barracuda Pro. Then you have things like Corsair, which I already mentioned, the simultaneous Bluetooth, but the Corsairs don't have active noise cancellation. You have the Nova Pros, which gives you noise cancellation, which gives you game to chat mix with their virtual audio driver because it has that hub. But that's $90 more. It's $350. I actually think the sound quality is better on the Barracuda Pro, which is a pretty big statement. Soundstage, slightly better on the Nova. Overall sound quality, noticeably better on the Razer Barracuda Pro. I just love the sound, especially if you're listening to music. I would pick the Razer every day. So the Razer lacks some features, but it's including active noise cancellation and great sound under $300, and it works incredibly well. The only other one that is comparably equipped is the Epos H3 Hybrid, or H3 Pro Hybrid, which again is in the same price range. It doesn't have simultaneous Bluetooth. It does give you an aux, which is really cool, in the USB mode, and it has the boom. That software too has a couple little hiccups. I think that's probably the closest one to this. The difference with the Razer is the active noise cancellation works a lot better on the Razer. It just blocks out everything if you max it out. It does impact sound quality slightly, but the ANC is amazing. And I think the Razer is a little bit better to travel with if you're concerned with how it looks as far as an aesthetic goes. Sound quality wise, I really have to say it's edge to edge. The ePulse has just incredible bass without destroying the details, but I think the detail retrieval and soundstage is better on the Barracuda. So if you're concerned with gaming performance or just a little bit more airiness up top, the Barracuda Pro is going to be a little bit better there. So overall, I think Razer, honestly, they did price their stuff pretty fairly, and on paper, you may think that something else may have more specs for less or the same, but when you start really comparing everything you're getting, including sound quality, which you can't see on a spec sheet, it's really remarkable what they came out with. Now my famous one line of, so at the end of the day, you have to decide if any of these is the right headset for you and how it stacks up to the others. This has gotten so competitive in this space that I feel bad for people who are trying to figure out the one headset to buy in each price range now, because there's just a lot of good options. I think Razer has a compelling product lineup. I've been very happy with the sound. The minor quirks I mentioned between either the audio buzz, or if you're concerned with fingerprints, or if you don't like losing the mic boom, etc. There's some things to consider, but overall, I still think that these are all great options as long as knowing what the detractors aren't enough of an issue for you. I think you'll be very happy with any of these three. They've worked incredibly well, and the wireless performance was great too. So overall, it was an excellent product launch in my opinion, and I think they undercut the competition a little bit for what you get to, which is cool. So anyway, with that being said, thank you so much for making it to the end. This is the longest review I've done, but it's the only way I could have fit all of this in before I moved. Otherwise, you'd be waiting weeks or a month before you see a review on any of these. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because in a few weeks you're going to see some big changes, and I can't wait to show you all. So click that button down below, and with that being said, I will see you next time.